Well, welcome everybody. While everybody gets seated, I'm sure more people will be coming. My name is Shin Andersen. I am one of the counselors at large. Carmel Lockman is here as well. I'm also the deputy mayor of Montclair. And I wanted to welcome you to my fourth community meeting because I'm at large. This is my fourth one, and I've had one in each ward, and I skipped third ward last time because of a scheduling issue. So now I'm here in the beautiful Montclair Main Branch Library, and I'm excited to, give you a lot of hopefully what you'll find to be helpful information, and listen to your concerns as well. So just a little bit of housekeeping, like our neighbor just said, if you could just put your phones on silent or whatever doesn't make noise, basically, not to interrupt. There's restrooms if you need to use the restrooms. If you go out that door, they're right down the hall to the right. And just want to try to keep it respectful and listen to each other and ask questions. You'll have plenty of time both during the presentations and after during the Q&A discussion part. Okay, so the agenda is right here. We're going to start out with a presentation by the Montclair Ambulance Unit. And then we'll have some updates and information from some of the township departments. We'll have Stephen Marks, who is our township manager, talk a little bit about the budget, the municipal budget. And then I will step up and give some information and updates from the council and then Q&A discussion. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to the Montclair Ambulance Unit.
Good evening, everyone. Hi. My name is Chief James Mazza of the Montclair Ambulance Unit. Thank you very much to Deputy Mayor Andersen for having us tonight. I'd like to start by sharing our new mission statement. Montclair Ambulance Unit, an independent, nonprofit emergency medical service, has been the dedicated 911 ambulance service for Montclair, New Jersey since 1953. We are committed to improving community health and safety by providing professional 911 EMS ambulance support for community events, incident management services, and public health education for everyone. As an independent 501c3 nonprofit agency, Montclair Ambulance Unit is not a department of Montclair Township or part of the fire department, and it's been this way since 1953. Our staff are not employees of the township, and MAU receives no operating capital from Montclair Township or residents' taxes. We would like to thank Montclair Township for the in-kind support it does provide MAU. The township provides the use of a building, our operating insurances, and our vehicle's fuel. This in-kind support saves MAU about $185,000 a year. If it was operating cash, it would represent about 8% of our annual operating budget. The township has much more purchasing power than our small nonprofit, so the cost savings is significant for us. As an independent nonprofit agency, MAU is responsible for all other expenses associated with running an EMS agency. Montclair Ambulance Unit is staffed by 67 paid professional career EMTs and 1 volunteer, our board president. They are employed by the nonprofit, not the township. The nonprofit's annual budget for 2025 is approximately $2.3 million. Approximately 3/4 of our budget, which roughly aligns with our payroll, comes from insurance billing. The other quarter comes from fundraising, including event standbys, CPR classes, grants, and donations from residents like you. The nonprofit MAU is responsible for that payroll, which represents about 3/4 of our annual budget and is roughly covered by insurance billing. We also have to fund ambulance purchases, maintenance and repairs, building maintenance and repairs, medical supplies and equipment, and everything else it takes to run an emergency medical service, from the Band-Aids to the toilet paper. Every year, approximately $500,000 of our operating budget comes from fundraising. We would like to thank those loyal supporters who respond to our mailings every year. We literally couldn't do it without you. We have to raise approximately $500,000 a year just to keep the ambulances rolling out the door. Our fundraising efforts include community CPR classes, event standbys, applying for grants, and running several fundraising campaigns to generate support from you, the Montclair community. Gone are the days of us taking down your credit card number and expiration date by mail or by phone. We have implemented a robust online fundraising platform So now you can make one-time or recurring credit card donations, as well as contributions via Venmo, EFTs, and even Bitcoin. We also have an easy employer matching tool, and that helps check to see if your employer will make a charitable contribution. I want to talk about grants for a minute. Nonprofit ambulance services like ours are eligible to apply for 2% of a federal grant that provides things like fire trucks and medical equipment to first responders. We applied last year, but none of the grants have been awarded. In fact, the documents about last year's applications have been removed from the federal website. We were able to secure funding to purchase one of the Lucas devices we applied for, but we will be unable to buy the other two. They cost about $23,000 apiece. Ask any emergency responder if they think every ambulance should be equipped with these life-saving devices, and they will say yes, absolutely. When federal funding disappears, local grants become more competitive, and we become more reliant on individual donations from residents. Every single Montclair Ambulance Unit employee is a certified EMT. The leadership team we've assembled have all provided patient care and worked on the ambulances themselves. Every one of them steps in when something needs to be done, from solving an operational problem to mopping the bathroom floor. The EMTs who respond when you call 911 are all highly trained, paid professionals. They staff the building at 95 Walnut Street around the clock, 365 days a year. Another crew is stationed in Cedar Grove every day. Last year, MAU crews responded to an average of 16 requests for an ambulance service every single day. We know representation is extremely important. In 1953, roughly 20% of Montclair's population was black, but we can't find any people of color in the team photos of that time. When MAU was founded, women were only allowed to answer the phone. Today, about half of our EMTs are women, and the racial, ethnic, and gender diversity of our team much more accurately reflects the community we serve. An extremely data-oriented agency, our team relies on data for everything from staffing to ambulance maintenance to what kinds of specialized training we provide our staff so they can better serve our community. I'd like to share a sample of Montclair Ambulance Unit statistics with you. In 2024, we provide 5,715 EMS responses. That is a 20% increase over 2023's call volume. In fact, we've seen approximately a 20% increase in demand for ambulances service every year since COVID. There are several reasons for that demand growth. I think the main reason is that patients with chronic medical conditions like high blood pressure, for example, didn't go to the doctor during COVID. So, left untreated, these conditions worsened. We are also seeing increases in requests for ambulances for psychiatric issues and for patients experiencing substance use disorders. We recently marked 2 years of service to Cedar Grove Township during the day. A crew of 2 MAU EMTs is assigned to respond in Cedar Grove from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 7 days a week. They handle about 15 911 calls a week. Over the past 3 years, MAU has seen a dramatic 70% average increase in mutual aid requests from other surrounding communities. While we have been able to add extra ambulance crews during our busiest times, other towns are facing staffing shortages, while at the same time their call volume increases like ours. We are very proud to have responded to nearly 6,000 calls for service in 2024. The New Jersey State Department of Health recommends EMS response time within 15 minutes. Montclair Ambulance Unit's average response time last year was just over 4 minutes. This chart here represents our average response times by ward. Note that Ward 1, the furthest from our Walnut Street station, is still under 6 minutes and is under half the maximum response time recommended by the state. This chart here represents our 2024 responses by ward. The highest number of responses was in Ward 3, the busy center of Montclair. This number also reflects our responses to events and concerts held in the downtown area. To scale our services to meet increasing demand, we're hoping to raise $300,000 in addition to the $500,000 we need to raise to operate, to remount an ambulance that suffered terminal engine failure last year. While Montclair Township has purchased several ambulances over the unit's 7 decades of service, and we are incredibly grateful, no future ambulance purchases have been planned at this time. As an independent nonprofit agency, your taxes do not purchase, maintain, or repair ambulances for us. Your donations do. By purchasing a new truck, and remounting the old patient compartment, we can increase our vehicle fleet and bolster our ability to provide preventative maintenance and necessary repairs on the rest of the ambulances. Remember when I read our mission statement? Public health education for everyone is an important priority for our agency, and it's also a critical fundraising source for us. Jonathan Pryor heads up our Training and Education Division, which offers CPR, first aid, stop the bleed, baby sing, and now our popular free opioid overdose response training course. The classes take place right next door at the MAU Training Center located in the Mills Building, or we can come to you. You all received a card in the mail announcing our exciting opioid overdose response training courses. Thanks to opioid settlement funds provided by the Montclair Health Department, we are able to provide this valuable training for free to everyone who lives, works, or goes to school in Montclair. The link to sign up for these courses can be found at Montclair Ambulance Unit website at www.montclairems.org. Another pillar of our mission statement is incident management. We provide emergency management planning and response to large-scale incidents, whether they're unplanned events like hurricanes or blizzards, or planned events like Montclair Pride, Jazz Fest, and the Walnut Street Fair. Our leadership team are all EMTs who are highly trained in various incident management disciplines. Some of those areas of expertise are logistics, staging, urban search and rescue, and public information. Our Deputy Chief, Michael Craig, is one of the New Jersey's only geographic information systems specialists, or mapping, experts working in EMS. Sometimes additional ambulance support is required for events like football games, concerts, and graduation ceremonies. You can bet we won't miss a graduation parade. EMS is an underrepresented profession when it comes to legislative advocacy. I could talk about this for hours, and I will spare you all here. But unlike fire, police, and animal control, EMS is not designated as an essential service in New Jersey or 34 other states. This means municipalities aren't required to provide or fund ambulance services. Our access to grants is extremely limited compared to that of other first responders, and many EMS providers have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to pay their own bills. We are active in several professional associations and attended EMS on the Hill Day in Washington, D.C. this year. Our PIO recently completed a research project about EMS advocacy for FEMA's National Disaster and Emergency Management University. I didn't want to include this, but my team is making me tell you that I won the National Association of EMT's EMS Advocate of the Year award this year. While I was honored to accept it, I don't do anything alone, and there's so much more advocacy work to be done. And if not us, who? I'm always looking ahead to the future, and I'm willing to bet that demand and costs will continue to increase. I know we're going to need more ambulances and more space. The 1906 former firehouse we occupy was originally staffed by 4 firemen. Today, on any given weekday, we have up to a dozen men and women working in the building, and we only have 2 toilets. We know these things take time, so we are working in the background to identify our future needs and figure out how to make it work. We're going to need more ambulances. Last year, each of our 5 ambulances responded to an average of 1,100 911 EMS calls. A mechanical issue that's minor for our personal vehicles, like an issue with the air conditioning, takes an ambulance out of service until it's repaired. In a Murphy's Law scenario, when more than 1 ambulance is in the shop for scheduled maintenance or repairs, that could limit our ability to respond in an emergency. We envision a future with flexible, scalable, regional EMS. Instead of every town in our area running its own ambulance service, we would work together even more than we do today. A regional approach to EMS increases flexibility and improves ambulance responses in a very cost-conscious way. We were fortunate to be able to help when Cedar Grove asked for our support, or when another town had 3 911 ambulance calls at the same time and needed to find a crew to take one of them. To this end, we have developed an informal coalition of EMS leaders from across the region, and we get together to discuss the challenges all EMS agencies face. We are optimistic that, when we collaborate, we will find solutions to the staffing and funding challenges that have caused many EMS agencies across New Jersey to reduce their services or close their doors altogether. Okay, quiz time. Montclair Ambulance Unit is A, part of the fire department, B, a department of the Montclair Township, C, an independent nonprofit staffed by volunteer EMTs, or D, an independent nonprofit staffed by paid EMTs. All right, and the answer is D, an independent nonprofit staffed by paid EMTs. You would be surprised to hear how many of your neighbors don't know how your EMS system operates, right here in Montclair. Please help us tell our story. We would love to come give this small talk to your neighbors and friends. If you have a monthly staff meeting, we'd love to attend. We will talk to PTAs, real estate agents, professional associations, even book clubs. Just tell us where to be. Please follow us on social media and interact with our posts. It helps us to get the word out. And then we are planning a special fundraising event next weekend, and we hope you'll join us. Please come on Saturday, September 6th at 95 Walnut Street from 11 to 3 for a fundraising event. We'll have the Kona ice cream truck, the ice truck, Kona ice, not ice cream, a DJ, ambulance tours, and some fun, free kids activities. As always, I'd like to thank Montclair Township, the Township Council, and the more than 1,000 residents who contributed to our fundraising efforts last year. We literally couldn't do it without your support. You're welcome to reach out to me directly at chief@montclairems.org. Thanks again for having us. I'd be happy to take a few questions. Yeah.
What a question.
Hi, I have two questions. One, does Cedar Grove pay us back for, was it Cedar Grove or Verona? Pay us back or contribute to the fund? Because I didn't see it as part of your grants or anything.
Luke, you're going to be the runner. So Cedar Grove, it was an RFP that they published. There is a amount, I believe it's $30,000 that they pay for service. We do bill their patients, and they provide an in-kind contribution of an ambulance that we use in Cedar Grove. So there's a cash piece, an in-kind piece, and we are billing their patients. And then.
Are you aware that New Jersey EDA will fund electric ambulances?
So I have seen that. There is only a few electric ambulances out there right now. They cost over $1 million, the last I saw. And we would have to look at one of the reasons why the fire department left the quarters that we're in now was a weight problem with the trucks, with the fire trucks having the capacity and with the basement, right? So there's a lot that goes into that. They are larger as well. So right now, when we fit 4 ambulances in our bay, it's incredibly tight. I can barely squeeze through. If you add a larger ambulance, because they are larger that I've seen, it's going to be even tighter. I don't know if I'll be able to have the same capacity. How much is the regular? So if we do a remount, like I suggested in the presentation, that's about $300,000, buying all the equipment that goes into it. If it was brand new, it would be $400,000 to buy with all the equipment involved in it. So it's a significant difference. I think that is the future. I just don't think we're there yet.
I happen to be one of the former presidents of the ambulance unit
Thank you.
a long time ago. My question is, why don't we have this type of information in every household in Montclair and in Cedar Grove? We don't have this type of information. I think if we did, then people would send 100. Even if they only send 100, that's fine. They would send money to support, especially the fact that no one understands where those ambulances come from and how expensive they are. And I know they've always been expensive. Numbers just gone up. But communications is very important to your cause. And I'm sure the majority of the people in this township assume that you're part of the township. And when I tell people, no, you're not, they say, yes, they are. I just leave it that way because what am I going to say? I'm past president and I know exactly what the structure is, because they don't want to hear about it. So I think we need to get more communications out so everyone in the town really understands who you are, how you're funded, what you need to provide as services. If you don't have a truck, you can't pick somebody up. And the fact that all of the employees are EMTs, I'm sure that's not true in every town. Communications.
So what we do is, Kristen, our Director of Development and PIO, we do 2 yearly fundraisers via mail. So we, obviously space is limited in those letters because we have to look at it from how much money do we spend to try and raise money, obviously. So we do provide glimpses of this information. I think there is probably a gap that we can fill by adding more information to the website. If somebody opens the letter, reads the letter, and then they can go there for further information, I think that's a great idea for a gap that we can fill.
Free communication, Montclair Patch, Montclair Logan, free communications. When people read it.
I think we were in Montclair Local two or three times this year, so we are absolutely trying to get the word out.
I probably should know this, but is there any information about Montclair Ambulance Unit on the town website?
There is, I believe it's a paragraph with a link to our website, and then my contact information or the OEM portion of the website.
But nothing about how you're not funded by us and you need, okay, well, maybe we should improve that. Where's Matt?
Good evening. The regional support that you mentioned, how expansive is that and how connected is that? Do you have to call another unit to get help, or do they already know that there's something huge going on and we need to be on the spot?
So without getting too much in the weeds, if you were to call 911 right now, your 911 call would go to a public safety answering point. Montclair Police Department is one of those answering points, and it all is based on, so from a cell phone, it goes based on where your tower is located. So sometimes you go to the wrong town and they have to transfer you. They will say, you call, I'm having chest pain. Okay, we're going to get you an ambulance. If we have an ambulance available that's not already on a call, they will dispatch our ambulance. If not, the police department will then reach out for support from another town. The reverse of that is true. So if somebody calls in another community, they have no ambulance available, the police dispatch center or that medical dispatch center, depending on how they do their dispatch, will reach out to other agencies, and we're just on a list, and they go down the list and they start calling. So when a town is asking for help, that's the process, how that happens.
Hi, I just have 2 questions. What's the % of calls for Montclair and the % of calls for Cedar Grove?
So I don't know the exact percentage. It's approximately just shy of 4,000 calls in Montclair and almost 900 calls in Cedar Grove.
And then the other question is, what about the opioid funds? Don't they cover some of the vehicle costs?
So they cover the training program that we're doing, and Jonathan Pryor is the one that manages that. Just this year, one of the pieces that we add is in conjunction with Essex Health and Recovery, Essex
Health and Wellness Recovery Center.
I missed the wellness. Essex Health, Wellness, and Recovery Center. We're going to be doing peer counseling in the field with them. They will provide the peer counseling. We're going to provide the Narcan or opioid overdose training and support with that. And there was a vehicle purchased with that, but it's not an ambulance. It's to transport the 2 of them to a suspected overdoses house and provide that education to them.
Do hospitals provide any ambulance service?
Some do, some do not. My personal experience, I've been doing this for almost 19 years. The hospitals do this in waves. They will get involved in EMS service. They come in, they'll zero bid a community and say we can do it for free or practically nothing. They realize that they're losing a lot of money doing it because EMS truly is in a business that makes money. They write off a lot of their losses as a marketing expense because they're driving around with a vehicle that has their billboard on it. And then they get a new COO or a new CEO and they say, why are we writing off all these expenses? I want out of this, or the town needs to pay us $1 million to do it. They've closed down all the local services in the area, and then there's nobody left. So yes, hospitals do provide it. Hospitals also provide what's called advanced life support. New Jersey is, without getting too much in the weeds, I don't want to take up too much time, but New Jersey is a 2-tiered system. And what that means, if you have a certain criteria, so chest pain, low blood sugar, hypertension, they will dispatch paramedics that come from the hospital and basic life support, which is our local agency. So they all, by law, only hospitals can provide that advanced life support.
Just correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the Narcan? Can we use the microphone, please? Oh, you can't hear me? No. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just had a meeting. I'm a school nurse. I thought the Narcan was given free from the state, or that's totally wrong.
So no, the Narcan is given free from the state. It's the employee's time in order to do the training and assemble the kits and do everything that's associated with that. The Narcan is given free. There is a question mark to that because right now the state is providing it for free. They were getting it from a federal grant that was cut under the last budget.
Thank you. Just curious, Montclair University, it stretches across 2 counties, 2 towns, and one of them is not Cedar Grove. So when you do a run to Montclair and it happens to be in Clifton and another county, like what hospitals do you use, or are you even obligated to use only certain hospitals?
So Montclair State University actually has their own EMS system. They have a volunteer-based EMS system that the students run. They have, I believe, a paid director that manages it, and then all the students are volunteers. Our standard is if we go into another community and it's what's considered a local hospital for that community, we'll go to that hospital, right? There are about 11 hospitals from Montclair we will go to without having to call our crew, having to call our supervisor on call for permission. If there's a compelling need, speaking as one of the supervisors on call, will pretty much approve almost anything as long as there's a compelling need. If it's your doctors that are at a specific hospital, that's not necessarily that bar. But if it's, I just had open heart surgery at this hospital and I'm having chest pain, then absolutely, we're going to take you to where you just had open heart surgery. I hope that answers your question.
Hi, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, I have gum. Excuse me. So if I'm a citizen and I call 911 and I say, hey, I'm worried that my friend is going to keep overdosing, would you guys distribute free Narcan to me to use in the event of emergency?
So I would not necessarily say you should, call 911 if they are overdosing, obviously, right? But if it's a concern that I'm worried that they're going to have an overdose, or I'm worried that my friend is going to be in that situation, it might not be a 911 call. I think I just saw Jonathan give you a card. We can absolutely get you training and give you a dose of Narcan. Additionally, if you go on the website, there are open classes all running. How many times do you have in a month?
3 times a month. They're free scheduled all the way through October, and then the next 4 months will be scheduled out.
So come to one of those classes. We'll go over how to use it, the signs and symptoms to recognize if there is an opioid overdose, and you'll get a dose of Narcan. If you do use it, there's a QR code and a phone number. Call it, and we'll replace your Narcan.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We answered all the questions about Montclair Ambulance tonight. Yeah. Nice job.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Wow, thank you all for all of your great questions. And, before we go on to the next part, and thank you all so much for everything that you do. I just want to just give a little personal. So this is really personal to me. I mean, I think most of us, if not all of us, have probably had someone, either we ourselves or someone we know, has had in a medical emergency where we've had to call for help. I know I have. I happen to live in the 3rd Ward. I live within maybe a few minutes drive from the nearest emergency room. But even then, people don't always make it, and that's what happened to my loved one. So, to have, I did not know pretty much everything that Chief Mazza said. I didn't know that EMS was not considered an emergency, or an essential service in New Jersey, one of 34 states that aren't. I didn't know that, I also thought that because it said Montclair on the side of the ambulance that it was part of the township. And so, you know, I think the services that they have been providing for so long are so important, especially since we know that in these difficult, things are going to get harder. People are losing their health insurance. They're losing, they're losing their jobs, and just people are not going to the doctor. So, and I work for a medical institution, and so I see people just getting sicker and sicker to the point where, as Chief Mazza said, we are going to probably see a jump in these cases. So I want to thank all of them for coming, and thank you for all of your attention as well. And I hope you spread the word about the Montclair Ambulance Unit. Okay, so on to the next part of our program. We have a series of staff members who are here to give some Township Department community updates that impact the community. And we're going to start with the Administration, Code Enforcement, and Environmental Affairs.
Well, that is a tough act, a tough and super, super important act to follow. My name is Norma Tassi. I am the Director of Administration for the Township. I've been with the Township almost a year and a half, and the updates I have for you today are from different departments around the Township. And let's get started with this one. In response to the public's input, the council has made street safety a real focus. One of the things that they've done is invited Laura Torchio to join the staff. Laura brings a wealth of experience combined with zealous advocacy as the chair of the Vision Zero task force, and now as the paid staff member as the Complete Streets director. The township is really going to benefit from her thoughtful and thorough leadership. And just speaking as somebody who's known Laura for quite a number of years, we're lucky to have her on board, and her passion for making Montclair streets safer for all street users is second to none, and it's really from deep within her heart. This set of maps, which are available on our website, kind of go over what has happened as the Vision Zero task force morphed into Complete Streets. On the left details the traffic improvements that have been made from 2024 to date. And there's a legend there that tells you which ones are streets, which ones are rapid reflecting beacons, which ones are stop signs, and there's been 2 new traffic signals. The one on the right are the areas of planned study. So the blue areas in the right-hand map, it shows you in all 4 wards how studies are planned to make streets safer. They don't center, the improvements are intended for the entire township, and they don't center on any one area. There's been a lot of news about the safety improvements that have been made since October of, I think, 2023, when the Vision Zero really got off the ground. What you'll see there is a count of the traffic safety improvements. Over the past year or so, we've made steady progress installing permanent and effective traffic calming solutions. In addition to the above, here on the slide, the county yesterday signalized the very confusing intersection at Watchung Avenue. So the next one is from, I'm bringing you this information from the Department of Community Services. This service is, this is a refuse service that if you need assistance or you simply don't enjoy bringing your refuse containers to the corner, there's a solution. The Department of Community Services offers rear yard pickup. This service includes returning the receptacles to their spot once they're dumped. It's available year-round, and it could be paid for quarterly. The price on the screen is the price per quarter. The next quarter begins in October. And the unfortunate thing is that this service requires This service requires a paper form. If anybody's interested, there are paper forms in the back, and the check can be dropped off at the Community Services Building, which is at 219 North Fullerton Ave. So this is something like information to get to your neighbors, information to use for yourself, information to think about as the weather worsens. Here's another one that a lot of people don't know about. Lawn and leaf bags are available at DCS as well. Anyone is eligible. 2 bundles of 5, like you get at Home Depot or wherever, are available for free between mid-October and December. After that, they're available for purchase, and they cost $1.75 for the 5. So all season long, you can buy your lawn and leaf bags from DCS, but in the high season, there are 2 bundles of 5 are available for free. That's also at 219. The women at the front desk can help, and they just ask for proof of residency. And then the last little update is just the council's really is working hard to try to keep in touch with everybody every way that they can. This, that little shot there is the front page of the website, the Montclair Township website, when you access it from a desktop or a laptop. You see 6 things in the bottom right-hand square is how you sign up for email alerts and to be on the website, to get the newsletter distributed to you. Matt was kind enough to make a QR code, so anybody who's not already receiving this communication is able to do so. And that's what I have for you tonight.
Anybody have any questions? I learned something new about the rear yard pickup. Yeah. When did that start?
I think, to be honest with you, Counselor, I think it's been available since 2006, and only 79 people participate. The leaf bags have been available since Montclair went to, you got to put your leaves in bags instead of, yeah.
Good collection of information.
That's a compliment for Matt.
Yeah, good newsletter. Thank you. I thought that was a great presentation. But
Thank you.
I have a question. I'm just trying to visualize how many miles of roads are there in Montclair? Because you said 6.7 have been paved. And I say that because I'm always driving over bumpy roads. So I just wondered if you can put it in perspective.
I could get that information for you, and I'll leave you my contact number. I would say that 6.7 is a low percentage of roads were paved this year. There's hundreds of miles of roads in Montclair. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. From South Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the improvements and the safety improvements on the roads, is there any data yet showing that there have been a decreased number of accidents or anything, or are we still?
We wouldn't be able to publish verified numbers for probably a year since so if there was something near you and you wanted to study what that was, if an improvement was put there, you'd need probably a year for verified data. I think anecdotally, I hope that you're feeling that the township is keeping an eye on it, and I hope at some more tricky intersections, hopefully you're feeling more comfortable, but providing hard data is hard without the stretch of time. Bill?
He can go if you want to use the mic.
Yeah, I used to get a daily or weekly email from the town showing what streets have been closed, and that stopped a couple of years ago. And I
think it's.
I don't get it anymore.
I'm going to let Matt say. Matt will be able to tell you that. I've seen that. Mm-hmm.
I'll just
I'll plug the little flyer I have with the QR code, which is on the table in the back, to get the alerts. So this is the same system that will send those alerts for the transit alerts, the road closures. What we didn't have before when I joined was a page on the website too. So when you get the email with the alerts, obviously what's in your email will become outdated in 2 weeks. So there's a page on the website too that I update regularly. So, and if you're not getting emails or alerts, the flyer's on the table back there. If you have any trouble, I included our info@montclairnjusa.org. That's like our generic email. Those emails go to me. So if you have any trouble signing up or questions in general, always happy to talk.
And there, I think there was.
Every single week this summer, but you can't remember what they're all saying because, and then when you get there, oh yeah, this is all that.
One of those good problems. Yeah.
Matt, can you tell the audience how many signups you have currently for people who signed up for Get Alert?
The last time I checked, it's a little over 10,000. It's like 10,150 around there. Run like a new system than when I started, so I can track more of who's signing up. So we're seeing a steady increase, I don't know, 20 to 25 a month or so. So the more I try and get this flyer out, hopefully we get more and more. So.
This woman had a question, and then I better pass to the next.
Hey, everybody. So you didn't speak on this, but I see it on the screen. Parking permits and stuff, is that part of this department? Just parking and things having?
This is the website, and this is like the reasons why people tend to go to the website. So all of those are live links. So on that dashboard, if you click on the parking, hopefully you could answer your own questions there.
Do you have a specific question about parking?
I have a commentary on town parking, but just specifically with the citizens, I feel like it's very sad and unfortunate that we have to pay to park in front of our own homes that we own. So I don't know where to bring that up or who to bring that up to, but I just saw it there. That's why.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than where I live, where you can't park in front of your home. And I pay my property taxes.
Are you in Montclair?
Of course I am. Why do you think I'm here?
So what street on Montclair can you not park on your street at all?
All the streets you can't park on, the only ones you can now park on have the permit feature, the pay feature, to give people an opportunity to utilize that parking.
No, I appreciate your comment, and thank you. It's not, we hear that, it's not just you. So there are other people who are wondering why we can't park on our streets. And, there are different reasons, aesthetics, people just don't want us to look like New York City. I've heard that as well. But I do want to just acknowledge that you're not the only one who's asked that question. And it's any time is a good time to bring up anything that you want to talk about. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, next, let's see. Office of Sustainability.
I'm going to see if I could turn these lights off. There we go. It's better, right? Oh, but if I have to use that. Wait, or I could use it. It's not going to feedback. Hi, everybody. My name's Lisa Johnson. I head the Office of Sustainability. And I just have a couple updates. I'm going to make this pretty brief. Who here is familiar with our Native Landscapes project? Yes. Did anybody ever get a free consult? You got the consult? What'd you think of it? It was good. Who'd you have, Yulia or Yana? Yulia, she's great, isn't she? So we planted a native garden in front of the crescent deck. And when we planted it, it looked like this. We had over 1,000 plugs. And we're able to do this through a grant from Sustainable Jersey. Yeah. Did you get? Yeah, you're. Yeah, I'll get to it. Yes, I'll get to it. So we had 1,000 plugs, and we had all volunteers, and we were able to plant this garden. If you look at it here, it doesn't look great, but if you look at it now, it's gorgeous. It's really beautiful. I have some photos. So why do we choose native plants? Anybody know why? Pollinators. If you go to this garden now, full of bees. They need less water, right? We haven't watered this garden once in the summer, not once. And it's resistant to pests and other diseases. It supports the ecosystem, supports biodiversity, right? Native's the way to go. So if you're thinking about transitioning your lawn or part of your lawn to native, you can sign up. Before I get there, though, here is what the garden looks like now, right? We just took these photos this week, and you could see the flowers, and it's still in its infancy. It's still very new, so it's going to get even fuller, more flowers. It's already beautiful, but it's going to be even better. So now we're looking at even extending the garden all the way down. So if this appeals to you, we still have spots left, right? We were able to get more funds in order to give these free consults. So what happens when you get these consults is we have a landscape designer who comes to your house that specializes in native plants, and not just plants, but trees as well. So they can tell you what trees you should plant, what trees you have, if there's any trees that have diseases. And they can also tell you what native plants would do best on your lawn, where to plant them, how to make it look as beautiful as this, right? So it went from this 1,000 plugs to this, and you can have it too. So please email M. Cunliffe. You could also go to the Office of Sustainability's website to sign up for it. But it's a really, really great program, and we're the only municipality that does this, right? So this is special to Montclair and to Montclair residents. So I hope everybody takes advantage of it. And if you can't, maybe your neighbors can, so please pass it along. We also, these aren't my slides, but I'm going to explain them. So we also have a grant through the USDA for the community forestry program. So we got $1 million a couple years ago. And one of our deliverables is youth employment and education. So we partnered with Montclair State University. We gave them a sub-award. And we have green teams every year for the next 3 years. So we have 4 in total. So this was our first year with our green team. And we had 5 wonderful students. I couldn't have asked for a better crew. You might have seen them present at one of our council meetings. They did a great job. So I'm just going to briefly go over their findings. So this was us in the roads. We were doing field work. So what they did is they took a full survey of the street trees in the 4th Ward, right? They didn't have time to do the whole township. We concentrated on the 4th Ward. They created a dashboard. They compared tree density, also carbon uptake and environmental benefits. And again, we focus on the 4th Ward. They did about 434 trees that they were able to put into this inventory. They had 41 species, most common, honey locust, red maple, and plum. And they also looked at the diameter at breast height, right, how big these trees were. They took that into account. They also looked at where we need more trees, right? So they used all sorts of data for that. One of them is they used satellite imagery, the Landsat 8, to see where our hotspots were, where we have urban heat island effect and where we have pretty good greenery. Ward 1 has the best. And then if you look, right, anybody know where that location is where it's really red? Bloomfield Avenue, desperate for trees, right? So we're working on that. So this grant that we have, we're going to increase our tree canopy and all the benefits that it brings. And trees are great, right? They do all these magical things. They also store carbon, and we know this is really important. So if you look at how much carbon they store, right, and this is all of the trees in Montclair, they're able to kind of guesstimate this based on online data. 247 tons of carbon stores every year, over $100,000 avoided in health and environmental costs, right? So trees super important. And they also remove pollution, 342 pounds of pollution removed a year, over $1,000 in economic value just in pollution removal. It also avoids runoff, right? Another important aspect of our trees. So at the end, the team came up with some recommendations, prioritize street trees, right? Some of the things they found, I'm just going back to this map. So we have almost 100 miles of roads, and we are desperate for more street trees. So Orange Road only has 23 trees on it, right? One street or avenue, Madison Avenue, almost all honey locust. So it's a problem if you only have one type of tree on a street. What happened to the emerald ash tree? The ash tree? The emerald ash borer came and wiped it out, right? So we want to diversify. We want to have a lot of different types of trees if possible. Some trees, they have high root systems, right? So your honey locust, even though it sequesters a lot of carbon, it has a very shallow root system, so it's not great in all locations. All right, so again, we had such a great time with this team. We want to do a full inventory of the township with trees, so we're going to be doing that with another grant. We have a $15,000 grant through the DEP to do more inventory, but if we don't finish, next year we're going to have the green team do another inventory. So hopefully we can finish this in the next year, a full inventory. Another grant that we have is the USDA Composting Food Waste Reduction Cooperative Agreement, and this grant is letting us purchase 4 industrial in-vessel composters. So 2 of the composters are going to schools, Watchung and Bullock, and then 2 are going to community sites. So one's going to Montclair Community Farms, and one the Northeast Earth Coalition is going to be using at their location on Pine Street, and these are going to allow us to drop off our food waste. Which a lot of towns are able to do this, but it's more so they take that compost or that food waste somewhere else. So we're going to be able to process our food waste within the municipality, so it's great. So we're hoping in the next 2.5 months, we're going to have these ready to go, right? It just takes a while to get all of this, all the site prep and the composters in. And the rocket, that's what we're going to be using. And it also takes wood chips. So when we remove trees, we usually have to pay for the removal, right, to get it processed, and now we could use it in our composters. So this is going to be saving the township a lot of money, not just in removing the wood chips, but also our tipping fees when we throw out our trash. So about 24% of our garbage is made up of food waste. So if we can get a lot of our residents to start bringing their food waste to these composting sites, it's going to be great. And then last but not least, there's an event this weekend in Crane Park. The Northeast Earth Coalition is hosting it. It's called Harvest Festival, and it's going to be great. There's going to be organic produce. There's going to be, classes and all sorts of stuff. So if you're around on the 6th from 3 to 5, please check it out at Crane Park. There's another event I don't have a slide for. I'm looking at Mr. Barron. Maybe you can help me out. Sunday, right, our interfaith group is going to have an event. I know on the 20th of September, there's going to be an event here at the church. But I'm going to give this to you. If you could just...
Thanks. Bill Barron. I'm part of the Coalition of Interfaith Climate Action. National environmental groups have designated Sunday, September 20th, as National Sun Day to promote alternate energy sources as opposed to fossil fuels. And we're planning a 3 days of events on Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to have a solar house tour on September 20th, Saturday, from 1 to 3 o'clock. We'll be handing out maps of 4 houses in Montclair that have solar energy. People can go and talk to the owners and learn about how to put solar on the houses. There'll be other events. We'll have we're just putting together the website and all the events, so I don't want to share that with you right now, but we'll distribute it. I'll give it to Lisa, and she'll distribute it to everybody. Hopefully we're we're also talking with Montclair Film to possibly show an environmental energy-related film that'll be open to the public.
When they do that, Union Congregational Church, we have solar on our main building. We put it on, we were gonna put it on 2020, but we had the pandemic. So we did it, we had to do half in 21 and half in 22.
Well, we're going to start the tour at Union Con, so
Yeah,
if someone from the
spent
church,
$120,000 on it.
if someone from the church can be there to talk to people, that would be great.
I know all about it.
Thank you.
So that's it for me. Does anybody have any questions?
So I just wanted to say, I think all your programs are fantastic. I'm really glad we have a sustainability program in Montclair. And I would just, I don't want to add to everything you're doing. I know it's a lot and you don't have enough people for it, but I really think it's important to publicize the need for trees in this town, because I know you've gotten grants and you're planting trees, and I'm worried that we're not keeping up with the amount of trees that are lost. I think people take trees down for aesthetic reasons. Sometimes they're afraid they've got a bad branch. You can have a branch pruned. You don't have to take down the whole tree, and you take down a giant oak and you put in a little, if we're lucky, you put in some little maple tree. So I just think people need to be made aware of the real value and all the things that you discussed that trees do, and also to work with other town entities like the Board of Ed, taking down trees in Watchung Park and putting up a tarp for shade. I mean, it's heartbreaking. So anything you can do.
No, thank you. So what the Green Team did is to build on. So that was like the first step for us to collect the data, and then we're going to build on to increase the education. So we're trying to get as much education first, or information as possible, to then build on these campaigns. But yeah, absolutely, it's something we're working on. And I am working with the BOE with the composting, and yes, it's it's challenging.
I could tell you something about trees. I went to see the director of Public Works about a year ago when he first came aboard, because I live in a neighborhood that everyone is taking down the trees and putting in swimming pools. Beautiful, big, gorgeous trees. And I found out from him that unfortunately, up to that point in time, we really didn't have a tree program anymore, because there's no way to police it. But now with the new manager, we have in the budget, this year's budget, the money to purchase the program that the Public Works Department is going to be utilizing to start to be able to identify. Applications will go out to people where they want to take a tree down with the information that we need back, and it will be reviewed, and then they can get a permit online. And then the replacement, if they don't replace it, we will have, through this system, we'll be able to have follow-up, so they're going to have to pay the $250 per tree. They're not paying anything now. And we're losing trees. We need the oxygen. But we have that in the program, in the budget. I hope we're getting the program.
Hey, Dr. J. I have a question for you regarding your plantings that you did in front of the Crescent Deck. In front of my house, I live on the corner of Walnut Street and Walnut Crescent. There are 2 center islands in the roadway, and every so often the town comes and they mow those little islands, as they should. But I'm wondering, could this program apply to center islands around town? Of course, I'd love if mine were done, but where they could plant native plants that don't need to be mowed.
Yeah.
So you'd save manpower and cost. I'm always about fiscal conservative. And so you're nodding your head. That's doable?
Well, there needs to be a water source. So when we planted the garden, I'll just go back because it is so beautiful. We had to water this in the beginning every couple days to establish it. But once it was established, again, we haven't watered it once. So if we do those plantings, there needs to be a water source, or residents need to help us out.
Yeah, I know with my neighborhood, the residents would do that. We'd love to, see some change to those islands, which are pretty ugly.
We could definitely do it, yeah.
Going
other questions?
Anybody else?
Let me just start with all the bad news in the world. This is like the most wonderful news. I'm thrilled and thank you. But I did have a question. My understanding from talking to more than one person is that ivy eventually will kill a tree. The roots compete. Oh, thank you. So you
Yeah. Yeah, if
And
you
I
see
think-
ivy on a tree, cut it off, please.
And I think I see gorgeous trees with ivy, and I don't think on people's private property and on public property. And I don't think people realize it, because I'm sure they love the tree in their front garden, and yet the ivy's crawling up. So, not that it would be in your lap, but it's too bad. I talked to Montclair Times once and said this should be on the front page, not a little article, but a front page.
Yeah.
Let people know that ivy kills trees.
Well, and also if you get a consult, the designers do point out all the invasives and what needs to be removed.
And it must be challenging, I would guess, to deal with the ivy.
Yeah, I have it at my
get at the
house,
root.
and you think it's out, and then it comes right back. It's never gone.
Right. But I'm glad all the information I got is correct.
Yes, you are
And I
correct.
keep wanting to go on this door-to-door campaign and tell people.
You can help us.
It's going to kill your tree.
Yeah, you can help us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for what you do. Just have two quick questions. First is, as someone who lives on one of those streets that was unfortunately covered in ash trees until the emerald ash borer, and now we have no shade, is there any appetite to maybe look at increasing the tree cover on some streets to make it even better? And the other question is there any thought or appetite to do something about invasive trees that can be seen on town property? I mean, I can point you to about 7 trees of heaven within walking distance of my house that are on town property as an example. I mean, aside from the fact that they harbor the spotted lanternfly, they are invasive. So is there any plan, first of all, to maybe increase even tree cover on some streets? And second,
Yeah.
is there any plan to get a little more systematic about dealing with invasive trees that are in the township?
Absolutely. So even the Bradbury pear tree, which, we know splinters and causes all sorts of problems. So again, part of the grant deliverables is to increase the tree canopy. So we are increasing the tree canopy. And on my sustainability page, you can even request a tree in front of your house. So obviously the arborist has to go and look to make sure that it's appropriate, but you can request a tree if you have the space. And then as far as invasives, that is also a grant deliverable, is hazard pruning, removal of invasive species. So everything it just takes time, especially in government. It's so slow, but we are on the right path for that.
Thank you for your presentation. I just wanted to ask a little bit more about the grant from the DEP you said that y'all received, and you're planning on planting trees. And then you mentioned how there's only 23 trees on Orange Road. So when will the planting start?
So the best time to plant is in the late fall or the early spring. So November, December, we're going to start our plantings again. Okay. Yeah.
So have y'all planted trees thus far, or?
Yes.
Okay, where are some areas that I could go look at the trees that are growing?
Off the top of my head, that's something the arborist covers. Yeah, so DCS has that list, but we do plant every year a minimum of usually 250 trees. Yeah, you're welcome.
You know this all too well, but I can't help mentioning, and I want to verify with you, most landscapers plant invasive species and pour toxin into the soil. And people don't realize that. And the grass, those lawns, which have been in style, they're terrible. They're the worst thing for the earth. But, so anyway, what's happening here is not just happening here. I was in, well, I guess it doesn't matter. But I think the county parks, at least in Essex County, are on a path to planting more invasive species and doing away with the lawns. Ringwood Manor, that's where I was when I saw the sign.
I'm not aware. Yeah, so they're planting invasives. Is that what you're saying? Or they're switching to natives? Yeah. Well, Montclair, we're trying to change it. We're trying to, not do that. So, thank you. Thank you for the comment. No, it's great feedback. Thank you. Thank you.
And then I'll ask, and I'll be last.
Just real
We have
quick,
some
one, I just want to congratulate the town on the ban on gas-powered blowers and stuff. All the landscapers promised they would leave town. Nobody's left. They're all working fine. It's been a real success. But I just want to say I'm concerned about this townwide push on sidewalks and its impact on street trees. There's conflict between the routes and the sidewalk, and I just want to make sure that the town prioritizes trees. Safe sidewalks, yes, but does it in a way that's not going to take down trees, because I've heard that the arborists may require trees to be taken down. So I'm concerned about that.
Yeah, we'll have to take both into consideration. I have two questions, which I'm hoping you can just quickly answer before we move on to the next presentation. How can we, so on Orange Road, you said there aren't very many trees, which I've noticed too. How can we ensure that areas like that part of town will get the trees that they deserve and need?
Well, it's through inventories like we had just done. I would have known there was only 23 trees on Orange Road if we didn't get this grant and the green team didn't do the inventory. So it's just education, collecting data, and we find out, and now we know that this is a place we have to target to plant more trees.
Is that in the plan for the next round of tree planting?
Yes, absolutely.
And then my other question has to do with the rocket composter, which I believe it's mostly, it's pretty much all paid for through grant funding.
All grant, yep.
So can residents actually use the compost once it's all broken down?
Yeah.
Or can they come and get
They can
fertilizer?
take it and they can use it in their garden, yep. And the rockets take everything from bones to meat to dairy, so it takes everything, almost everything.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry, so we just have a few more, and then I just want to make sure there's enough time. Health and Human Services is next, and if you're not paying attention, it's going to be on a topic that has been in the news a little bit in the last couple of years, sidewalk cafe ordinance. Cafe ordinance.
I don't even know what it is. I guess I got a lot of work. Can I use that microphone there?
Oh, yeah,
Is
sure.
that on?
Yes, it is.
Thanks, bud. Thanks. How you guys doing? My name is Steve Ruffalo. I'm one of the inspectors from the Montclair Health Department. You might not necessarily know what a sidewalk cafe is, so I'll just tell you it's the the tables and chairs that exist outside of restaurants that are placed on township sidewalk, our township property. They serve food out there. It's basically an extension of their restaurant. If you look at my full disclosure here, if you look at my presentation here, there's one singular slide, and there's a reason for that. Is because I like to talk and I like to tell stories. So give me only, 7:30? Give me only till, Counselor, just give me till only 10 o'clock, and then just say, please. I'm just kidding. I'm going to go through this. So we have sidewalk. We're basically a few years ago. I've been here for 16 and a half years. My coworker Keith Costello, who's been here for 23 years, gave me a folder, and he said, "I bequeath these to you," and I quote, "I bequeath these to you." And I opened up the folder, and it glowed in my face, and I got blinded, and I said, "Oh, what is this?" And he said, "These are sidewalk cafes." And That's what I started working on 16 and a half years ago. I have since given them to my coworker, Bob Jernick, who's working on licensing right at this moment. But if you want to know what the licensing entails, it's an application that they have to fill out, their information of the business owner, their personal information, whatever it happens to be. There's an insurance component to it, liability. There's a hold harmless agreement for the township, and then the payment, which is as follows. The annual license required is $150 for 12 or fewer patrons. So that's like your typical small business front has 12 seats or less. They pay $150. $250 for more than 12 patrons. So that's anybody that has any more than that. The bigger restaurants, since we're in the third ward, the Church Street, South Park Street, and then any one of those, if they extend more than 4 feet past the facade, and they have more than 3 tables, 6 chairs, they pay an additional $1.25 per square foot for that space. And that's really only, honestly, that really only applies to, I'd say, Church Street and South Park Street, because they don't really have, there's not a lot of other spaces that are that big in Montclair. It's obviously Church Street is the probably most popular street for that, and South Park a little bit, maybe second. As far as the rules go, they have to always have a 6-foot unobstructed passageway that shall be provided for pedestrian traffic. Now that also, so if I'm looking at a Sidewalk Cafe, and let's say this is the street, this is the curb right here. If there's nothing from here to the restaurant, where their tables and chairs start, 6 feet of space. If there's a parking meter or anything that's permanent, a tree or anything like that, that's where the 6 feet would go to. So if you're walking down here and you see a parking meter right here or a tree or anything that's permanent, you're measuring from here to the first chair. They always have to have that. As it pertains to Church Street, since it's in your ward, sidewalks that have over 15 feet, they have to have their pedestrian passageway right along, like let's say we're walking down the left side of Church Street, I'm saying the left side, walking towards Starbucks, where Raymond's is and stuff like that. They have to have their pedestrian passageway right along the facade. And then their tables and chairs start 6 feet from there. The other side, or any other places pretty much, they have to have their 6 feet of passageway after. So they have, they're on their facade, and they can go as far as leaving 6 feet of space to go through. That's pretty much the other side of Church Street, where the opposite of Raymond's. Now, as far as we obviously are the enforcers for that. Enforcement has typically been complaint-based. So we would get a complaint, and we would investigate it. Somebody calls us and says, hey, listen, we think that there's not 6 feet of space at this restaurant. We would go there and check it out. And then along the way, since there are about 100 of them, and they operate pretty much from, I'd say, they all start coming in around March, and they'll go all the way to the winter time when the last few years it's been actually pretty temperate, so we they basically go all the way till they can't serve food out there because it's too cold. It's impossible for us to get out there every single day for to check every single time they're out there, or every time they have food out there. So we go once annually and give them a little bit of a, hey guys, come on, And just to give you a little, I've been here, like I said, I've been here for 16 plus years. My coworker's here for 23, other coworkers here for 12. We don't only just do Sidewalk Cafe enforcement. We work with, we do the inspections for inside the restaurants, the food safety inspections. We do public pools, and even not just our public pools that we, in the township-owned ones, the ones that are in, say like Bel Air House and Hawthorne Towers. Anything that the public uses that they don't own. Youth camps, lead-based paint inspections, and then all our public health nuisance complaints. So we definitely don't have time to go out here every day and police them. But oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, am I not talking into the? There we go. I'll get really close to it. So we'll go out there once per year, and we do kind of like a little bit of a sweep and just say, hey. And we've, over the years, obviously, we've built a rapport with our restaurant, our business owners. They'll if we tell them, hey guys, you're getting a little sloppy, because what'll happen sometimes is, and I don't want to get away from the microphone too much, but you'll have tables and chairs, and sometimes somebody will go out there, a server or whatever, they'll push it in. Somebody will kind of go like this, and they leave their chair out, and now you have 4 feet instead of 6 feet. we understand that. And we say, guys, can you just police it a little bit more? And for the most part, like I said, we built up a rapport with our business owners where we can talk to them and they do it. Every once in a while, though, you get somebody who doesn't follow the rules, and then we have to go a little further. And it's an unpleasant part of our job, but hey, listen, that's our job. That's what we have to do. So that's basically Sidewalk Cafes. I mean, I'll hand any questions you have for me, or, yeah.
How confident are you that all the sidewalk cafes are in fact permitted?
Are in fact what?
In fact permitted.
Oh, permitted. Oh, yes. So what we do is we give them they have a certain amount of time where they can pay their license fee, and then there's a late fee after that. And what'll happen is if we get to a point where we say, oh, some of these places don't have it, we give them, a few weeks, months, or whatever, a month or so, whatever it happens to be, and we'll send out a notice of violation. Usually, we know them, so we can call them too, or we'll send out an actual written notice of violation saying, hey, you don't have a permit. I am not personally working on the sidewalk cafes, but I know a few months ago that those licenses, along with our retail food establishment license, and I mean that by all our restaurants in town, we send out notices and emails and things like that, and we make sure that they're permitted. And if there's ever a point where somebody doesn't, we've already sent them a notice of violation, they would get a summons. And but for the most part, they're pretty good with us. They know that they're going to go to court. It's a waste of everybody's time. There's no reason plus they like these. It brings people in. People seem to like the sidewalk cafes in general. Yes.
So I'm seeking your opinion. Do you think that these sidewalk cafes exacerbate the rat problem?
I would say, and we deal with this a lot. I would say that it doesn't necessarily exacerbate, because what you're looking for with those retail food establishments is garbage left outside. So rats are probably not going to be outside while all these people are outside. Like if you go down the street today and there's a beautiful day today, you're not going to see a rat coming, scooting through people's feet. It's just.
No, well, I mean,
I hope not, but
when they're done eating and the place closes up, do they sweep up?
I would say that they do a pretty good job of cleaning up after they're done there. I don't think that, in my opinion, I've been here for a while, that wouldn't be one of the things that I would think would be contributing to it. It's always a possibility because you never know if somebody, but again, the businesses, especially if we're going to talk about Church Street, because it is the busiest street and it's the most, walked, or, a lot of pedestrian traffic. The businesses they know how valuable those sidewalk cafes are. The people like them. And I think, in my opinion, they do a pretty good job of keeping them very neat, and not really necessarily causing a problem there. Over this way.
I'm just curious, you explained it, but I'm not quite clear. And it doesn't bother me, but DeFresco on
Right.
Church Street,
Mhm.
and I know he's wealthy, he'd probably sue the town if you enforced anything. But he does not have 6 feet clearance.
Right, so I can tell you that, I wasn't really going to name anybody specifically, but I can tell you, and I'll still keep it general, when we do get, as I mentioned to you before, we've built up a pretty good rapport with our business owners. Now, we're enforcers. We don't want to make it seem,
No, I'm
they're
not
part of our
saying,
community.
I'm not
And-
saying you should enforce.
No, and I'm getting to that,
Because I love
absolutely.
the outdoor
Absolutely.
cafes,
Mhm.
and I'm so supportive of the local restaurants. My favorite thing is to support local restaurants.
Absolutely.
I started a dinner group to do
Mm-hmm.
that. And the restaurants, it's such a tough business to be in.
I know. Mhm.
But it's just as interesting that the guy that sues the town and has a lot of money doesn't have 6 foot clearance.
Right. So, and the reason I brought that statement up is because we've been here for a long time. We've built a rapport with these business owners. And I feel that even when I have to do the dirty part of my job, they understand, all right, Steve, listen, we may have pushed it too far or this and that. And they say, I've given violations to people and they've shaken my hand afterwards. So sometimes, and to get to your point, I get somebody who doesn't do that. I get somebody who says to us, for example, I'm not changing. I think that's somewhat a little bit, as we've always treated people we've always been gentlemen with them. And now there's a new inspector. She's a lady, so lady and gentleman now, not just gentlemen. But we've always treated them with respect. And when somebody does that to us, we take that a little bit personally, where they say, oh, I'm not going to change. You know how difficult our job is. We're trying to keep everybody happy. We're trying to keep you guys, the residents, happy. We're trying to keep the business owners. We know how everybody's important. Trying to make them understand that, like, you know, you guys are, you know, there's no reason for you to be this way. And for somebody to say that, and I don't, like I said, I'm trying to be general, but it goes to your point. Then we have to do what we have to do. So those people.
I hope he pays extra money. I guess
Those
that's
people,
it, 'cause
those
he can
people get a
afford it.
notice of violation, and they will be in court. And I can tell you that's happening. So that's unfortunately just, and it shouldn't have.
He might sue you.
Oh, what's he gonna get?
We walk on the other side of the street.
But that shouldn't be that's the thing. That shouldn't be the case. You know, it's very simple. It's a 6 foot, and you know, and then there's ADA regulations, which I'm not 100% sure who's really supposed to be enforcing those. But you know, you don't want. There's no reason to just say, oh, I don't want to. You know. And I'm not even getting into who's suing the town or whatever it happens to be. It's very simple. I mean, it's 6 feet of space. I shouldn't have to.
I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. I was just curious.
But it does bother a lot of people, though, because, you know, if you're going through and you're going like this and you're trying to get through a space, it's not pleasant, you know? And it's 6 feet of space. It really, you know, it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else have any questions? And I just wanted to mention that, yes, I mean, I love outdoor cafes. We all most of us like to sit outside in nice weather, and we want to support our businesses. But I mean, personally, I think this is also an accessibility issue, and so we do want to make sure that that passageway is.
And I completely understand. So if there's ever a point where a resident or if someone comes to you, counselor, and says, hey, by all means, you call the health department. Megan's up there. She will give those complaints to us, and we will investigate and take care of it. The way that we take care of it, and we're pretty confident that we can get them to do what they have to do. Again, sometimes that doesn't work out, and you got to do it. We have to do what we have to do.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, just gonna do a quick time check. It's 5 till 8. We're here until at least 8:30, and I'm happy to stay over if some of you want to have time. But I do want to make sure that there's enough time. Some people wanted to bring up things that are not on the agenda. Just have a quick. So the next piece of this are some quick updates from the Planning and Community Development Office. And the director provided me some slides that I'm going to share with you. Okay, so Janice Talley is the director of our Planning and Community Development Department. And we have some really good news that for our town. So the first item is that there is a state program called the NJ Homes Program. It's administered through the DCA, the Department of Community Affairs. And yes? I'll try. Okay. Hello? Is that better? Oh, that's much better. Thank you. Okay, so this is a program that there was a grant application process through the state. The application was due, I believe, in July. But the good news is that Montclair has been selected, one of just 10 municipalities to be designated for this program. And what this program provides is technical assistance, training, financial support, and other resources to help us as a municipality plan for and implement affordable housing. There's a special emphasis on housing development that is small scale, diverse housing projects that are designed to integrate into the communities. And so it provides access to about $10 million Launchpad pre-development fund, $10 million pre-development funds, which provides funding for pre-development financing, which, as I understand it, is pretty difficult for developers to get. And that's, you know, those are the pre-construction costs, architect designs, you know, studies, things like that. So what we are going to do through our participation is develop different models to meet the needs of residents of all ages and stages in their lives. So for anything from single-family homes, duplexes, to townhomes, ADUs, small apartment buildings, and so forth. I think this is a really good thing for Montclair, and we're lucky to be one of just 10 in the state to be part of this program. The next item that we just have an update on is, probably many of you know that we have a home improvement program that provides up to $24,000 through our affordable, I think it's the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. We provide up to that amount to eligible low and moderate income homeowners so that they can make repairs that are basically to be used to bring their homes up to code. So that those things include like replacement of a major system, like a roof, their electrical work, heating, plumbing, windows, and other things. The new program is expected to open in October or November. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Councilor Lockman, I think that we had discussed in the last EDC meeting that there is a new administrative agent that we're going to be getting, and so who is going to be responsible for overseeing that program in accordance with the procedures and policies. And if you have any questions about whether or not you might be eligible for this, please contact Janice Talley. She's available by email. Okay, and then finally, the council passed recently by ordinance the opt-in to the New Jersey CPACE, Garden State CPACE program. And what this is, it's a state-administered program that allows qualifying commercial real property owners to have access to private financing so that they can make qualifying energy efficiency, renewable energy, water conservation, and resiliency improvements to their property. And then they would repay the investment through being charged a special assessment that's sort of similar to their regular tax bill. When we participated, and again, we approved, the council approved participating in this program by ordinance. We also signed an agreement with the state. The township is basically acting as a pass-through, so we would collect the assessment and pass it on. And we actually do not incur any costs to participate in this. It's really just it's a program to hopefully benefit property owners who might not otherwise be able to get access to the financing to be able to do these improvements to their buildings. And so if you think that you might want to participate, if you want to know if you qualify, again, it's mostly commercial property owners. Please contact the planning department. The person who is sort of overseeing this on behalf of the township is Daniel White. He works under Janice Talley and is the economic development coordinator. Yes.
The last sentence on the big paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
Additional chargeable assessments similar to the real property tax bill. Are they passing money through the township and we're passing it to some entity?
Yes.
Why do we have to do that?
It's just part of it's the way it's set up.
Encouraging people to make these environmental changes. But we get paid, and we get paid.
We're going to get paid for the use of our staff to do this work? That's very important for people to know.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. So next up is Township Manager Stephen Marks, and he is going to talk to us a little bit more in detail about the municipal budget. As everyone knows we're, really not just Montclair, but we're going to be experiencing some very difficult challenges. And so Stephen Marks is here to talk a little bit more about that and answer questions.
All right, like Stephen from the Health Department, I only have one slide, but I could talk about this for hours, so thank you for your patience. If anybody, there's smaller numbers on here. It's actually blown up on a board in the rear of the room, so if anybody wants to, dwell on it or take a picture of it or talk about it afterwards, I'd be more than happy to do so. So I will be short and sweet. So the town has a municipal budget. The municipal budget this year, it was introduced in May. It was adopted by the mayor and council in June. It's approximately $107 million. We raise approximately $62 million from local taxes, which accounts for, that is the rough, I think it's, I'm colorblind, so excuse me. I think it's the gray piece of pie that's all the way to the right. So less than 25 cents of every local property tax dollar goes to the municipality. 57 cents of every local tax dollar goes to the school board, and the county is about, I think it's about 15 cents out of every local tax dollar. We are not the federal government. We cannot print money. Everything we do is subject to the availability of funds. So when you're experiencing something in your own life and you think the town should do something about it, and you call the mayor and council, they are the governing body, and you say the town should do this or the town should do that. Unless it is in the budget, the town can't do it immediately. If it is something that the mayor and council can agree upon, then it could potentially go into next year's budget. So if you live on a busy street or a busy intersection, or you think there ought to be a traffic signal, the count, I just read, it was incredible, because in my experience, traffic signals cost, maybe my experience is either dated or I live in a different place. I don't live in Montclair, so I apologize. But in my experience, traffic signals themselves cost about $250,000. So when the county turned on the traffic signal at Watchung Plaza the other day on Monday night, I read in the article that the county had spent like $657,000 thereabouts for a single traffic signal. So improvements are not cheap. And what I would recommend or question to the mayor and council and to the general public is everything costs at least twice as much and takes twice as long as you could possibly imagine when you're starting something, whether it's a new park or a new playground or a new building or a new traffic signal or what have you. So we are fiscally constrained. We can only spend, you can't spend the same dollar twice. We have to count every dollar as we are making hires, and we have to hold our employees accountable. I should have said this in the beginning. I work for the mayor and council. The mayor and council don't work for me. And Montclair is extremely fortunate to have a mayor and council that are extremely smart and extremely passionate and extremely outspoken. Montclair is also extremely lucky to have staff members, department heads and other staff members who are also incredibly smart and incredibly passionate. Many other towns don't conduct community meetings like this, and many other towns, if they do conduct community meetings, it's usually by the elected officials, and you don't have members of the staff coming out. So they are here on their own time. They're not getting paid overtime to be here, and I appreciate they do an incredible job, and I think everybody afterwards should either give them a round of applause or thank them afterwards, because they don't need to be here, and they're only here because they're very smart and passionate people. I think that's all I had to say. Yes, and I would be happy to entertain questions.
Okay, so I do have a question, but I have two comments. The first is, and I
Sure.
You actually work for us.
I do.
You report to the council and to the mayor. You work for us, and I know you're a new manager, so
Mhm.
keep that in your mind as you're working.
Actually,
And welcome to Montclair.
thank you very much. Thank you.
I really didn't mean that to be rude in any way. It's just that I didn't have the feeling for the last maybe 3 managers that they knew that that was so. So my comment is, I have to say, when I looked at this in depth when I came in, and, Bill was doing the taxes, and he's going, oh, this is going up $500 or whatever. But, 3.79%, I'm sure I'm going to be in a minority saying this, but, it's about in line with inflation. Doesn't strike me as terrible. What I do want to have is effective government for that money. And that's something else that I don't feel that we have had so much of in the last 10 years, maybe. Falling school stairways falling down and $10 million deficits and a lot of contention and problems. So, I'd like to have effective government for that.
Absolutely.
For that increase. The other thing is, today before coming to this meeting, I tried to find the 2025 budget. Could not find it on the website, could not find it on the town
I know it's
site.
there, so we could.
Well, it's
maybe
probably
make it-
there, but it's hidden. I mean, I spent about 15 minutes. I've done legal research. I'm not, incompetent at research.
No.
It was very difficult to find. I could find the fiscal year proposed budget. I could find the 2024 proposed budget. I could not find our 2025 operating budget. And then the question I have is, does this include the interest on the school bond that we're paying an increased amount every year?
So after the school board after Montclair went from a type 1 district to a type 2 district, the interest on the bond is actually from my understanding, the interest on the bonds is coming from the school board. In this year's budget, there was approximately $7.2 million. I'm going from memory, so if I'm wrong, I apologize. But in this year's budget, there was about $7.2 million that was budgeted in the municipal budget for previous school bonds. But that was before the more recent bonds from the public schools. So the public schools are responsible for the bonds going forward, and the municipality is responsible for the bond repayment of the debt service and the bonds from when it was a type 1 school district. That is my understanding. I'm sure if it's not correct, somebody will correct me.
Remember one thing, now that we went to an elected board.
Right.
It's not like it used to be, where everything was under the council. All aspects of our spending, obviously, the county was under the county, and we got a piece of our bill, that was it. We didn't have any choice what we got. But once we elected the board, I never realized when we were doing this, this is what we would get. They are totally separate from us. These folks are running the municipality, and this is the municipal budget, and they're just showing you, of all your tax dollars, here's how the pie is broken up. But the biggest piece of the pie is 58%. And that's for the Board of Education, and that's where the $11.7 million of past receivables have not been paid, which they just discovered. That's not this guy.
So it's not lost on me. I think Montclair's average residential property tax bill is about $23,000, over $23,000. I mean, that's probably among the top 10 in the state or top 1% in the state. So I'm very cognizant of that. I'm very aware of that. And it's I keep an eye on the finances, and I wouldn't spend a single dollar that I wouldn't spend on my own money. So, it's every dollar that we spend is a tax dollar. We also we have to go after every grant, that is available that's in the town's interest. So if there's a grant available to plant trees or rain gardens or what have you, and we could get it from either the state or federal government or a nonprofit sector, we will go for that. And so we don't have to, use local property tax dollars to make those investments.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
With all due respect, to your competency, and I'm sure you are, the town manager is probably, without any question, the most important job in the town of Montclair, most towns to begin with. And you don't live in the town of Montclair?
I don't, no.
Isn't that a little strange?
So the mayor and council conducted a nationwide search. There was a recruiting firm, Jersey Professional Management. Their request for they're basically the advertisement for the position went out to over 1,000 managers nationwide. I don't know. I wasn't privy to how many people were actually interviewed. I think the first round was probably over a dozen. I made it through the first round. I made it through the second round. I made it to the third round, and I was selected. So my family roots are in Montclair. My grandmother was born on St. Luke's Place. I've been visiting Montclair for most of my life. My grandparents are actually buried in Immaculate Conception Cemetery. My wife and I had our second date here at the Wellmont Theater. It is a destination that I've been coming to. My wife and I were here over the weekend, but I don't live here.
May I? Sir? If I could just add to that. So this is something that some people feel very strongly about. I recognize that in our town. From I'm just going to give you my personal perspective. I think, and I think many of my colleagues agreed with me, that we wanted to find the best possible, best qualified person to be able to take us through the next era of Montclair after a lot of turmoil, a lot of bad government, less than ideal government. I'm going to be nice about it, okay? We did do a search. Through a search firm, and we did interview quite a number of people. And in the end, we felt that Mr. Marks had the right level of experience. He has a lot of varied experience working as a manager for two towns, as a planner. We felt like he could really understand different problems from a very unique perspective. And the other part of it is, somebody else said this, that the manager works for the township. I mean, from my perspective, it's the elected official's job we are directing policy, right? And so if we're not working for the town, then that's the problem to me. And so, Mr. Marks is going to enact policies and implement policies that, according to what we think is best for the town, and he's going to help us do it because he's a professional. So that's just my perspective.
Hi, Mr. Marks. I'm pleased to hear, and I know this is true, that you look at every dollar that we spend, you spend, we spend, and that we try to get from grants. My big bugaboo has been ever since I've lived here, that nobody seems to be keeping an eye on the $17 million that we give to the county. I have no idea where that money goes. We have a traffic light, yippee. But what else are we getting for the $17 million that is paid to the county? And that's a rhetorical question for you, but I feel people should be focusing on that. And I am not. I have a role here in government that is all absorbing, but I wish there were people who would focus on exactly what goes on at the county level and what kind of money is being spent by the county in Montclair. I know they do the roads, they do the prisons, they do the courts, there's stuff like that they do, but what else could they be doing for Montclair? Are they attempting to regionalize some of our services to cut down on what we pay? What other towns pay as well, but I just feel like it's a mystery. It's a black hole when we spend money, when we give money to the county.
What do you feel your biggest challenges, or are you just focused on the budget? If it's on the budget, what do you think your biggest shortfall areas that we maybe all need to help with, or?
So to Carmel's point, I think we all need to collectively keep an eye on the county. I mean, that's just one of many issues, right? Keep an eye on the county. I think Montclair's fortunate to have a county commissioner as a resident, Brendan Gill, and everybody should be reaching out to Brendan Gill in terms of making requests and in terms of providing services or enhanced services or additional services from the county. As far as the challenges facing the county, facing the township, I think failing infrastructure is one. There are a lot of municipal facilities, municipal buildings, municipal parks and playgrounds, including the pools, that need attention. Claire Andersen. So The previous mayor and council had floated a bond for $6 million to make repairs to Clary Andersen. That was the previous mayor and council over a year ago. This mayor and council are very involved and very focused on the finances of the town, and didn't think that was the best use of municipal resources. So they actually, at the last council meeting, they actually introduced a bond, an ordinance canceling that $6 million bond. So in order, it's not to close Clary Andersen, the mayor and council created a utility, and actually a Clary Andersen ice skating rink utility, and actually increased the skating fees for people who are going to be using the utility. So the enhanced ice skating fees are actually going to be paying for the improvements that are necessary to keep Clary Andersen open. The Clary Andersen, just as an example, was in an advanced state of disrepair. I would say neglect after many years of disinvestment. So you could take that story and you could replicate it across, I won't go into specifics elsewhere. The senior center. So the town had signed a lease for a senior center right next door in the Mills building. That would have been close to $170,000 per year, which is great for the seniors, but was that the best use of local tax dollars? So we're actually going in a different direction. There was extra space in the municipal building at 205 Claremont, and we're actually moving offices around to create roughly comparable space. The original lease for the Mills building, for the senior center in the Mills building, was about 4,100 square feet, and we're actually making way for about 4,100 square feet of a new senior center on the ground level of Claremont, of the municipal building, at very little cost to, there's no recurring lease payments. We're actually using a $200,000 federal grant to actually make the improvements. The mayor and council this year had funded about $125,000 for the lease payments that we could also use to make the repairs, and about $60,000 for office furniture. So in the senior center, we are going to be including like a lounge and classroom, lounge for senior citizens for people to recreate, with also, I think that we just did a walkthrough with the various senior groups earlier in the week. I think it was Monday. So we want to create at least 2 classrooms with computer banks for senior citizens. It will be a resource for the senior citizens of Montclair, and we won't have to pay that $170,000 per year of a recurring cost. So, keeping an eye on the budget, keeping an eye on every tax dollar, and actually using creative ways to address the failing infrastructure is the way to go. I mean, that's just my perspective.
I just want to follow up with the senior center thing, because I'm part of the Aging in Montclair group, and I don't hesitate to say that I think at least everybody in our group feels it's shameful the way they turn their back on the Mills building lease. I don't know what the footprint in the Mills building is, as opposed to what's being planned for the town hall. But you go over to the town hall on a regular weekday, there's no parking.
So we are going to be
to
dedicating 28 spaces to visitors of the senior center. We are also putting in a handicap accessible ramp and entrance to the senior center. So it may not be, personally, I think it will be comparable space, if not better, right across the hall from the future senior center is the mayor and council chamber, and there's at least 50 seats. I heard from the senior citizens they wanted meeting space that could accommodate 30, 40, 50 people. The mayor and council chambers could accommodate 50 people at least. 28 parking spaces in the lot behind the municipal building will be dedicated to visitors of the senior center. So the town purchased years ago, long before I got here, the bank building next door. So we're actually going to be we're going to be demolishing the bank. Okay, well, I'm saying it now. So yeah. I'm not sure who's.
We have to very quickly put that information out in the public arena, because everything out there is negative. And the best that you did, you've already earned your keep by canceling over there. They thought it was gonna be crazy though. That's a dilapidated building to begin with. I walked through it all. Very dilapidated. It's got a long way to go before it's ever gonna be an acceptable building. So putting it where we're gonna put it and with the dedicated space, which I thought about too, and then I found out that's what they're gonna do. We've gotta get that out to the public so people start to find the positive, real news, and they'll be comfortable with that. They'll feel good about that.
So, just on the flip side, there is a vibrant senior center and community alive and well and being enjoyed in Montclair. We have 3 great locations that are in people's neighborhoods.
Wally Choice and Edgemont Park.
The library.
And the library?
And
Right.
And people are attending programs, and I'm personally attending several, and it's wonderful. And so I mean, I think the more money seniors can get, the better, because I've been contributing a lot over the years. But I do think it's confusing to be speaking as if there's not a senior center, just because it's distributed close to where people live. I agree.
Half the time you can't use a senior center or Raleigh Choice because the kids are there during the summer. And Edgemont is one room. I mean, you know, this is not apples and oranges.
But people who are using those areas
We
appreciate
have no other choice.
when they use them.
We have no other choice.
So just to go back to the point, I mean, it was very clear to me, working with the mayor and council, every action that we do, every policy we implement has to be financially responsible and cost effective. Yes, yes.
Hi, I just want to put my wife's comment to you earlier about working for the community in context. She's the daughter of a town manager.
Okay.
I just want to say, you know, I was very glad to see your resume, and, you know, I think that you're a wonderful addition to the town, and you're doing a great job.
But
regarding,
but
regarding the budget, as a budget manager for New York City Transit, a budget is not just a description of where the money comes from and what departments are spending it.
Right.
The budget is the blueprint for what your goals are for the town, and there's absolutely no information. I would like to see a budget that compares last year's budget to this year's budget, and how you're reallocating money and what you're prioritizing in the new budget. What things are changing, what things you're cutting back on. I would like to see that.
Agreed. I'm only here 4 months, so it's in the works. And you know, the budget making process is a year-long process. You always keep your eye on the ball. And so we're actually going to be starting the 2026, you know, budget making process in a couple months. And I hear you loud and clear. I hear the mayor loud and the mayor and council loud and clear in terms of they want to see key performance indicators and you know actually budget to where their priorities are. Yes.
I know this is not necessarily your thing, but is there an update on the library's efforts to get a big grant to really significantly enhance the library system?
So that was a cafe grant, a cultural arts facilities, I don't know what the E was, expenditure, grant application to the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. From my understanding, we should be hearing back in either November or December of this year.
Because that sounded pretty good.
Yeah, they got the application done in 3 weeks, which was incredible. And what they had to do a very complex application, I couldn't believe they could get it done. I said, well, do your best. And they did. So I'm very happy with the employees in the building here. They really do a good job. And our director here is great as well.
Agreed.
The whole gang is great. There's all summer long, no air conditioning on the 3rd floor. We just got it 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Mariah Askew. This is regarding both the housing slides and your slide as well. On August 18th, I went to the planning board meeting, and the architect and the attorney and the redeveloper were absolute fools. Absolute fools when I approached them about the gentrification and displacement of the black and brown people in downtown and South End Montclair. asked them, they said they didn't know what gentrification was, even though it's between page 25 and page 26 of the redevelopment plan. And they said they didn't know about the historical context when it's on page 15. So if they don't want to hold themselves accountable, whatever, I already knew they were fools and that they don't give a shit about us. But I expect our council, our mayors, and you to take care of us. You have a responsibility to us. You all do. So I need to know, what are y'all gonna do? Because as far as I'm concerned, everything else, the skating arena, the community centers, these are all accessories. All of them are accessories, and at the end of the day, they do not matter over the black and brown people that used to flourish and built this whole town. And I've lived here for 20 years and have seen so many people be displaced and just disappear, and people just don't think about them anymore because they don't meet with the aesthetic of this town. So I don't know all the language. I think that a lot of the language is inaccessible on purpose for people like me and other people who are not financially equipped to understand all of this. But it needs to be broken down so that people like me, people like my family, who only have a year to live in our apartment, by the way, because the taxes have gotten so high that now my landlord and superintendent, they can no longer keep up with the place. So I won't have a home in a year. So I only have a voice for a year before I get kicked out and can no longer tell you this. So I really, really, really need y'all to take this seriously, because it's very clear that these fools that I had this meeting with on August 18th just don't give a shit about us.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments? I'm sorry. It's almost 8:30. Yeah.
So I hear what you're saying. I'm not on the planning board. I wasn't at the meeting. I can't really speak to that. Affordable housing is an issue, a challenge, certainly in Montclair. And so I would defer. We have two members of the council here. I mean, I certainly don't want to speak for the council. So, do you want to add anything, or?
I really don't, because I was clearly at that meeting, and there's a process to looking at an application, and the process was that the architect who was presenting on behalf of his client the particular application was supposed to be questioned on his understanding of the application. The asking about gentrification had nothing to do with the application per se. I mean, I know it's an issue in town, but that was a specific process that was being gone through at the planning board to look at an application. And I know that you were upset. You felt like they weren't answering you, but in defense of the architect, he was only supposed to be answering questions to do with the actual application, not on his philosophy of gentrification or whatever. So.
Why are you allowing someone to build here that you said?
That application was not.
Oh, sorry. This person was supposed to read this redevelopment plan.
It had nothing to do with the redevelopment plan.
Aren't they required to read it before building in this town? Yes or no?
There's.
Yes, they are. So why are
Forget it. I'm not answering your question.
So you just don't give a shit about us?
Oh, come on now, this is not the appropriate language for this meeting.
What, so now I have to talk respectfully?
Yes, why not? I mean, we're all sitting here, we don't even know.
I'm talking about
We
how
haven't
this
been at that
affects.
meeting, so we don't even know how to respond to what you're talking about.
I'm asking because the slides.
We don't have to swear about it.
Okay. I think we need to turn the temperature down a little bit. Excuse me.
People are affected in this town, and I realize I talk respectfully.
Ma'am.
Look at me like I'm just a
Ma'am.
black person here. Why did I news for you? I have a black young person in this town.
You're just showing how racist you are.
All right. I know, yeah. Excuse me, everyone. Can I get everyone to please take a breath? Thank you. I want to be able to provide the forum for everyone to express how they feel and what they, I mean, everyone, okay? Let's just thank you, everybody, for making your comments. Thank you, and I'm happy to continue any conversation afterwards. It's a little bit after 8:30. We have a little bit more to go, and I just want to, if you're finished, Mr. Marks? Okay.
Is there any more questions?
Does anyone mind staying a little bit after to learn about, what we're doing on the council? Yes. Yeah. So I'd like to just stay here until we get kicked out, if that's okay. Anyone mind? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Oh. Is this it? All right. Well, thank you, everyone who has to leave. If you can all stay, that's great. If not, ooh. Okay. Thank you for everyone who's staying. I'm going to try to fly through my slides and give you some updates so we can have a little bit of time to have a discussion on anything else that you want to talk about. I see some people are taking screenshots of the rest of the council meeting schedule, that this is the calendar for the rest. So just a really quick note, September 9th is our next meeting, and that meeting is actually going to, as this slide says, the majority of the time we start at 7, but on September 9th, the actual meeting time is going to be changed to 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, it's going to start with an executive session, which is a closed session, because we're going to be interviewing a couple of candidates for the township attorney position, not manager. We like our manager, so we're not getting rid of him. I forgot to say that for anyone who couldn't make it to today's meeting, it is being recorded and it's going to be available. I usually share about it when it's posted. Quickly, I don't know if many of you might know, but the council has been in the process of doing a search for a new township attorney. As many of you might know, the prior interim township attorney who was appointed, the council decided not to extend that appointment, but we have had a series of attorneys in a sort of interim position, and I put that in quotes because statutorily we are supposed to be appointing people on a year-to-year basis. So we've had since January, we've appointed 2 different interim attorneys from the same firm. Our current township attorney, his contract ends on September 30th, and so time is really of the essence. This is a process that's started last year. Quite frankly, it would not have been. I don't think that it was ideal to have this go to this point, but nonetheless, we have started now interviewing candidates. Our first series of candidate interviews was on August 1st in a special meeting, and we are going to be interviewing 2 more candidates on September 9th, and I believe that we need to make an appointment, decide on who we want to hire at that time. And just for those of you at home or here who might not know, we do have, it's part of our code as to what the attorney's role is. And in my view, besides the attorney, besides the town manager, the township attorney, I think is really, probably, to me, it's the second most important role in this town. And so not that everybody else is, and I mean every one of our employees are fantastic and talented and very committed, and it's a joy working with everyone. And so I've never really, I mean, I've worked with a lot of dedicated employees, but pretty much everyone who works for this town is very dedicated. But nonetheless, it is very important to select someone who's going to, be able to be in this role, be a legal advisor, be able to also direct the law department. We have not been we have been without an assistant township attorney for about 2 years. So once we get the township attorney in place, the expectation is that they will be able to sort of take a look at, what resources we have, what is needed to be a good functioning, effective law department, and recommend, the staffing there. So I just wanted to share some updates, ordinances that we've taken action on in the past, I don't know, my last community meeting was in April. So since then, we've passed, the Township Council has unanimously passed on May 6th, the new Complete Streets Ordinance. This is actually an amendment to an existing ordinance. And the key components, I'm just going to go quickly through these. I apologize if I sound rushed, but basically what this new policy enacted into ordinance does is we now have a dedicated employee who reports to the township manager, who serves as the Complete Streets Director. And it's their job, as Norma mentioned, Laura Torchio, it's going to be her job to oversee the policy's implementation. We now have the members of the Complete Streets Oversight Board in place, and it's going to be that board is going to be primarily made up of staff. So we are really building in accountability at the municipal level to make sure that, any sort of transportation project, any sort of right-of-way improvement takes into account the principles of making our roads safe to be used by not just motor vehicle drivers, but pedestrians and bikers and people of all abilities. And again, what you're going to see and what you've probably started to see already in the last year are these types of infrastructure improvements, safer crosswalks, bike lanes that, they're not going to be on every street, contrary to what a lot of people think, but we hope to be able to implement some sort of shared use paths, better signage, and what you've probably seen all over town is like delineators, bollards, better road striping, and lower speed limits. So it's going to be this position's job to really come up with a process to be able to collect information and feedback from all of you. If you identify an intersection that's problematic, that you think should be studied, my expectation is that the Complete Streets Director put together a really good process, be able to communicate that, and have a good channel through which we can track these reports. And we want to be really data-driven in how we make improvements and make our roads safer for everyone. Okay, another ordinance that's traffic and safety related. In the last 2 months, we've passed amendments to an ordinance, Section 327, to install additional multi-way stops, four-way stops. The first in Washington Avenue in Willowdale, another at Gates and Clinton, and then we have also four-way stops now at Upper Mountain Avenue in Watchung and Gates and Hawthorne, which is right around here. And so all of these were studied, and before these recommendations were presented to the council, and we passed all of these ordinances unanimously. Again, infrastructure, we want to make sure that the township is keeping up with our infrastructure, including delivery of water, clean water, and our wastewater management. So we also recently passed 2 ordinances approving spending that the money comes from each of these utilities. Also, in July, we passed a new ordinance that prohibits the use of synthetic pesticides on township-owned land. This was recommended by the Montclair Environmental Commission. And what it does is it prohibits the use of these synthetic pesticides on township-owned and leased land. It doesn't apply to private residential or commercial properties. And what it does is it formalizes what the township has already been doing, which is not using these types of substances on parklands, preserves, playgrounds, and public land that we maintain. And so it's not just the township that is formally prohibited from doing this. It's anyone else who sort of takes care of their nonprofits, like the Bonsall. There are different groups, nonprofit groups that also help take care of this land. So we just wanted to codify that. And we do have a built-in exception process into this ordinance, just in case, there are situations where, this might be, these types of substances might be the only answer to eradicate a really invasive species. Oh, by the way, on our website, there is also the Montclair Environmental Commission has put together a really nice section of their webpage that, as I said, it doesn't apply to private lands, but they put together some really good information to help private property owners, learn about organic land care practices. So be sure to check that out. It's really helpful. Overnight street parking. Sorry, the two young ladies that seemed interested in this left. We also unanimously passed at the end of May an amendment to an ordinance where we added a whole bunch of additional streets where people can park overnight on those streets. The only thing is that, and this is just a reminder, that on those streets where we now allow overnight parking, you still need to purchase a permit to park overnight on those streets. The current cost is $45 for a monthly resident permit. Oh, and you're here. You were interested in that, right? Oh, good. Okay, great. So you can get more information about the ordinance. You can see the whole full list of all of the streets that this applies to on the website. And if anyone wants to reach out, I'm happy to send these slides to you. Just put your name on the sign-up sheet. But it's all available on the website. If you go to the parking utility department section of the website, okay? Public transportation is something that I've been interested in working on from the beginning. And so back in February, under the Mobility Committee, I formed a working group of residents and staff members who are interested in doing some research and looking at these issues about New Jersey Transit service expansion, particularly on the weekends on the train, and off-peak and weekend bus service to and from the city. And then another group is interested in, is looking at the possibility of reviving a town shuttle bus or a jitney service, which this town had in the past. So there was a resolution that formally established that working group. Just really, there's been a lot of activity in the last several months. So on the New Jersey Transit side, we've been working with our county and state legislators to engage New Jersey Transit leadership. We actually had a meeting with Chris Calori in the beginning of June and some senior members of his staff. And then we had a follow-up meeting a couple of weeks ago. What they're doing is, we need to collect data so that they can consider our request. And they actually helped us they gave us feedback on a draft survey that we put together, which we are going to finalize and roll out to everybody in the town. And we're going to share that data with New Jersey Transit so that they can do their own analysis. And we're just really going to try to work together. the townships of Bloomfield and Glen Ridge are also on board with this initiative, since then, they're going to be affected too. So we're going to be working together on that, and hopefully we'll be able to see what we can do to get some enhanced service. And then the shuttle bus, you might have already seen that we've rolled out that survey already. We've gotten over 1,800 responses so far to that survey. And really that is an exploratory survey. We want to know, if there's interest among residents to have a shuttle service that makes shorter trips around town, right? So, a lot of times people are driving like less than a mile or two within town, and so we're gauging interest in having a shuttle, a low cost or free shuttle service to help people, get around town better. For me, this is an accessibility, it's an affordability issue. It's also environmental. We want to try to get, less cars on the streets within town. And so I'm interested to see, we're going to do the data analysis and we're really pushing it out to as many people as possible because, of course, this would obviously cost money, and we're not going to, initiate this lightly. We have to look at the financial impact. And that's it for my presentation. So if you want to reach out to me, my contact information is there. You can email me. My email address is on the website. I also have a Facebook and Instagram account where I usually post announcements and events around town, and you can just find out what I'm up to and what the council's up to. So I appreciate everybody coming out. I think we can take time for a few questions. Okay.
Yeah, we've been waiting. So anyway, my name is Veronica, and I live right over here at 5 Roosevelt, as well as my neighbor Jack. So our apartments, our living spaces are on Seymour Street. And Roosevelt. Mine's just on Seymour. So I'm just, I don't know, I can't put it in feet, but I'm very close to, it's 300 feet maybe to the Wellmont. So the issue is, and we brought it up at the last meeting that we had like this with our councilman.
And nothing happened.
Right, is the outdoor concerts that are being sponsored, I guess, by the Wellmont, but they must be approved by the town, are just going on. I mean, it starts in the spring, and this is all post-COVID that it started. It starts in the spring, it will go right through October, and it's I'm all for these public concerts and everything else, and we all have to share space. But it's number one, it's the hour at night that they're going to. We can have the rock band going till 10 o'clock at night. And where my apartment is, I can't get away from it.
I can't either.
And Jack as well.
Because my apartment wraps Seymour and to Roosevelt.
So just to give you the most recent example was last night, it felt like the drums are in my living room. It's the loudness, and we've had, two things. We brought these issues up, the time of night that they're ending, and then also the pitch, the loudness.
They use these huge speakers.
Huge, yeah, the speakers.
They're only broadcasting to people in the plaza. That they should have these huge amplifiers that affect over 170 units on Roosevelt, Willow, and Seymour Street.
Yeah.
I mean, and the people that are right next to the plaza, those apartment buildings, those people are being driven out of their homes. I can't imagine them enduring the sound that it just blows up Seymour Street.
Yeah, and I don't know, I couldn't go through another summer like this. There are people with children,
People that work and want to go to bed early.
Exactly.
They work
there
long
has to be
hours.
some kind of a compromise to say, okay, well, I guess if we're going to have the rock band or, what's ever going on, it should end by 8:30 at night. and the level of noise has to be monitored
Yeah,
somehow.
You have to
I know-
eliminate these
You know,
amplifiers.
one of our other neighbors who had to leave a little bit early, I know that she called over to the municipal building and she spoke to somebody in the health department. And she was told that somebody would come out to actually measure the decibel, because I think there's an ordinance or something that says that you can't have music above a certain, there's something about, disturbance of the peace or whatever.
You're making
But-
faces. Does that
but-
mean you understand
but-
us?
You understand, I'm making a face about the noise ordinance
But-
because that is something that we are going to be changing because the current noise ordinance, as I understand it, is not enforceable because it's very subjective. So what we have been discussing, because it's not just this area, but in other areas of town where people are complaining about noise, excessive noise, there is a state model ordinance that is very specific about, decibel levels, and how violations are going to be measured. So, and I'm making a face because what I'm saying is the current ordinance is not, we've been advised that it's not easily, it's difficult to enforce.
But who permits the bands?
Yeah.
Does the town permit?
So the concerts, you're talking about in the plaza?
Yes.
In the plaza, exactly.
Yes.
So my understanding is that this was part of an agreement with the developer, as they're supposed to provide, they are supposed to actually, by contract, provide these public events in the plaza a certain number each year. And so I think, there's not really, I'm not sure that there's anything we can do about not allowing those events, but perhaps there are things that we can talk about with them as far as like the noise level and,
Yeah, but is this like forever,
When are
like
you going to
for how-
actualize on this?
Yeah.
Because it's affecting 170 families in that immediate neighborhood, and we have no control.
And I guess really, I'm just trying to anticipate if anything will be done, can or will, because I can't stay here.
Who's the liaison between the town and the Wellmont and the developer? Who is responsible for the interaction?
I don't want to give you an answer right now because I want to look into it.
Because you don't have an answer.
Well, no, and I don't want to give you the wrong information. So what I can do is give you my card.
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
And you can get in touch with me and I'll try to get the answer.
Because this has really gotten to be
I
unbearable.
mean, the truth of it is that I have to accept that I have to
It's been
move.
worse since it began. You can't.
It's serious.
You're projecting to a small audience on a plaza, but they have these huge amplifiers that literally blow out the neighborhood.
But is this new this year?
No,
I
since the
haven't
beginning.
heard people complain about it.
No, well, it's since the post-COVID, because that's when all the events started in the plaza.
Yeah, they just
So
started,
it's
it wasn't a
post-COVID.
long time. It was
Yeah.
just fairly, I think it happened in the
And
last.
I would
Last 2
invite
years,
you
2
to come
years.
on a night and not stand on the plaza. Come to Roosevelt and Seymour and listen to it. You could come to my apartment and it's like I'm there.
It's like,
Because it's got to affect the restaurants that are across the street that have to listen to it. It's really, and they promised, because I went to all the planning board meetings when they were talking about it.
okay.
And they said, we're going to have food fairs, we're going to have antique shows, we're going to have outdoor markets. Nada. It's only music. That's all that they're
Because the other
promoting.
stuff doesn't attract the young people.
Well, but it attracts other people in the neighborhood. It attracts enough people to have a farmer's market on Saturday at the train station. It used to be in that parking lot before that.
It's probably gotten louder and louder and louder. Because as the kids get louder, they can also decide it's not loud enough, but make it louder.
The town tells them that there's a second ordinance, and if you're playing to a small audience, there's no reason to have these huge amplifiers blowing out the neighborhood. It's just,
We'll look into it and we'll.
and who has control over that?
Well, it probably has something to do with this contract.
It doesn't have contract.
When I was on the planning board.
I remember.
When
You were.
when the
It's all your
building was
fault.
approved, it's not my fault. It's supposed to be a public
You were one of the voices of reason.
But anyway, thank you. But it was supposed to be a public amenity, that we would have public space used for things like,
But
the other
none of
things you
the things
mentioned,
happened.
but none of that happened. And they're supposed to have 12 events a year, and I understand that happened during that. And
Oh, they
if
don't
it's
tell
too
them
late,
9:30.
I know, I mean, we've heard you, I didn't know this before, you're the first time, honestly, I've heard this complaint, but I perfectly understand if I was living in your apartment, I would hate it too, I'm not a fan of
Yeah, I
rock
mean, we have
music.
to move.
So it would
It's
drive
not
me
the
crazy.
music.
No,
It's
no,
not the
to me,
music,
sometimes
it's the
it's.
volume.
I know, yeah. So there are easy solutions already.
Yeah, your walls
Turn down
vibrate.
the volume and cut off the time, right? That would be helpful, right off that we could do.
So the volume is the issue.
And the duration. I mean,
the
at
time.
8 o'clock, that should be it.
Yeah,
I
10
keep
o'clock at
going
night
to
is
the
too late.
8:30.
8:30.
8 o'clock, people are
My
winding
neighbors
down.
are doing that to 10 o'clock at night. I'd be over there.
Oh,
knocking on
it's
your door,
really-
saying, "Hey, guys, what's going on? You know, cool."
We will look into it.
Yeah, okay.
Honestly,
All right,
And
thank
please,
you.
yeah, please do,
Yeah.
send the email.
look it in your eye and say, we're looking.
No, I mean, I've seen it enough of the
These
things
two
where
are
you
alive.
were there. And you were the only
Very
voice
kind.
of reason amongst a sea of idiots. I mean,
Can we
really.
go home now?
I mean, it was really
You have a big
encouraging to
problem.
hear you speak.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised you lasted this long with this problem.
No, we brought it up with our councilman just a few months ago and nothing happened.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Yeah, nothing happened.
We'll look into it.
Handy, but
We'll talk into it.
No action.
All right. Hi.
Yes, yes.
Is not on this list
Uh-huh.
of overnight parking.
Right.
That means people can park overnight?
No, it means they can't.
There's no overnight parking.
Thank you.
Right, thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
thank you, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you, everyone. So,
Yeah, they're not supposed to if they're not on that list.
What, that list is where they're gonna have parking by permit?
Yes.
Well, that's the only place they're gonna have parking by permit.
well,
All right, thank you.
okay, so in front
Well, then you gotta take pictures of it, and unfortunately, you have to go to the ordinance department, they don't believe us when we go there. So they have to send somebody out, who the hell's going out in the dark to take a picture?
At 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, who's gonna do that? I have a problem with the ordinance department, they don't believe it. But I give them pictures, right? I live in the township for 36 years, I give them pictures, and I see this guy's got a boat in his driveway. Well, we have to go and take a picture, you have to go and see it.
Okay. Hi, sorry. I'm sorry. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you all coming out and staying.